Update 50 is here, so I thought it'd be fun to make a tank tier list. Now this is my super subjective list, specifically for sweaty, hard in-game trials. I'm mostly running groups that are progging Trifectas, so that's going to be what this is based around. This is not pug, just grab whatever tank you want kind of stuff. This is endgame optimization. Also, this isn't meant to exclude people or things like that. I think Update 50 is really good on the DPS side of things, that every class has a role and has a place. Tanking is not quite as good as that. There are some tank classes that just don't really have a place right now. Also, rankings can completely flip depending on your group, depending on what other classes are being brought, depending on what buffs you're missing or need, or depending on the specific fight or trial. So now that all that's out of the way, let's start at the bottom. In D tier, I have a werewolf tank. So whatever class, probably a Sork werewolf tank makes the most sense to me. The proc calculated defense with the channeled ability Roar. That could be pretty good. Even running Zens on a werewolf tank could be good. But with your skill bar locked, you're basically stuck with what those skills exactly have. You can't use scribe skills. There's a lot of stuff you can't do. You can't chain in ads. It's just really limited in what it can't do. It doesn't mean it can't tank. It just, for this end game optimization, I think it is the lowest on the tier list. Next up, also in D tier, is the Templar. Templar's okay in 4-man stuff where you need extra healing. But really, there's not much 12-man stuff where you need extra healing or you need the weird thing that it can block while channeling. But also, there might be a potential parse tank angle there worth checking out of the Templar being able to block while channeling. But I haven't seen anybody actually use it in hard mode in-game content. Next, in C tier, I got Arcanist. There's not much that they bring to the table as a tank, except for Runic Sunder. Runic Sunder is nice because it does 2,200 extra penetration, which is much needed right now with pure classing. Especially Nightblades and Sorks. Anything really other than an Arcanist and a Necro need the extra help on penetration. But also, that's easily solvable with just running Crimson Oath or running something like that or Tremor Scale. I don't think it's worth devoting a whole pure classed Arcanist tank to what can be solved with one set of gear. Then in B tier, I got Dragon Knight, to long time tank favorite. This is super good for 4-man content right now. They bring so many different unique buffs, especially if you don't have a damage dealer DK. These are amazing if you don't have a damage dealing DK in your group already, and I think you would have to run a DK tank if you don't have like a Zenkosh DK or something like that already in your group, because of how many buffs they bring to the table. They bring Berserk from lead from the front when you do an alt. They bring Standard of Might, which gives 300 weapon damage. They bring Igneous Weapons, which gives the whole group Major Brutality and Major Sorcery. So if you don't have a damage dealer, definitely bring it. It's really good. They can also stay alive really well with a wide assortment of different buffs, shields, and heals. Overall, still a great choice. Then next up, I got Warden. This is also especially good if you don't have a Warden healer or a Warden DD proccing Chill with Major Brittle with their new class mastery passive. That's definitely something you want in your 12-man group to up that crit damage. But the reason I'm really ranking Warden and DK a little bit lower on the list than some people might expect, because you could just run them as damage dealers or as healers and get the same exact effect. Also, Warden brings Major Resolve for the group, which is really nice. But also keep in mind that in Update 51, there's supposed to be a Warden rework coming, so this might totally flip on its head. Excited to see where Warden goes next patch. Then the first one in A tier is Necro. Super duper tanky for hard content. Probably the hardest tank to kill on this list, just with all the extra mitigation they have. They also bring Colossus, which procs Major Vuln, and there's ways that you can build to keep Major Vuln up, basically solo by yourself all the time. Really, really strong option. And it's still a strong option even when you're bringing Necro damage dealers, because running Colo on a Necro damage dealer is a damage loss compared to running Bash Goliath or even just Shooting Star or something like that. So it's still worth it to run a Necro tank while you have a bunch of Necro DDs. And then my first one in S tier is the Sork. Now you could go back and forth on these top two because they're both amazing, but I think Sork's calculated defense 6% more damage when you got that going is great. But you could also run that on a damage dealer. And then Sork also gets Streak, which is really fun for movement in fights, and they can drop Atro for Major Berserk for the group. They also have a ton of sustain passives and some extra skills that just help them stay alive really, really well. And then finally, top on my list, the top of the S tier is Nightblade. And again, that's debatable between these two. Totally could easily flip-flop these and be happy with my list. But Nightblade also has a unique damage passive. When they dodge a skill, they get 20 seconds of 5% more damage on that enemy. But they also have crazy ult gen for the group. And my favorite tank build that I've seen is actually this Nightblade with ult gen running Crypt Cannon and just blasting out ult for the group. They're also incredibly tanky. They can do some cool heal stuff. The transfer passive and the class mastery that doubles that is really strong. So yeah, I just think it's a really fun, really unique way to build a tank now on a Nightblade. So yeah, that's my Update 50 tank tier list for sweaty endgame hard mode trials. But keep in mind, I could have really put all of this stuff in S, A, and B tier and been happy. So the difference between a Nightblade tank and a Arc or a Templar tank is not really that big. We're talking just a little percents, and you can totally make it up with running a damage dealer or a support DD or a healer with a different class. So I think that gap is way smaller. Also, I highly recommend tanks being able to run multiple classes, especially in in-game content. Tanks are expected to be able to flip-flop, to flip sets, or to flip classes, depending on what the group. But yeah, thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one. Peace.